Hello, boys and girls, those who bounce in between. It is your favorite soy drinking, beta male, low testosterone YouTuber, Comrade Danky King. And in this video, we are going to be contending with the intellectual giant Haas of the infrared community. And I do not use the term giant ironically in any way whatsoever. And we are going to be held to task, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to prove that all of my arguments, that my assessments of him were completely inaccurate, and he is going to bring a level of intellectual sophistication into his analysis of my video that I never could have anticipated, and I'm sure that he is going to prove to myself and to everyone in my audience that he is truly an Aristotelian genius. And we are going to see that genius on full display. So without further ado, let's just dive in. Welcome to hell, ladies and gentlemen.
I just think that the manufactured by the elites.
So this is like 30 minutes. I can't watch this whole thing. There's just no time. I'm gonna briefly react to this tiny, like,
Idiocy.
This guy is mentally ill, I think. But I'll react to it anyway. It's like, it's totally irrelevant. But
I mean, already he's talking about, like, I'm tiny. So I would count that as making fun of views and subscriber count. So I'm just going to go ahead and check that off on the bingo chart. Damn, that's a big check. I'm going to do a smaller one, because I have a feeling I'm going to need all the space I can get here. He also said I'm mentally ill. Should I count that as, like, making fun of my body? I didn't actually have a category for calling me mentally ill here. I don't know. I think it's, of course, distasteful, but I don't have a category for that, so I'm going to be fair to Haas, and I'm not going to check off anything from mental illness, although I probably should have put that on the bingo card. That's my mistake. That's my slip up.
But we can react to it.
Same degree.
So, you know what's interesting is, like, this, I feel like this video could be from 2 years ago. And that just shows how profoundly out of touch this fucking idiot is. Like, this video could have been released 2 years ago. Why patriotic socialism is wrong.
Oh, yeah. So, 1,000 pardons, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because I said the term patriotic socialism. How remiss of me. That term is so out of date now. I forgot. They all call themselves mecha tankies now. How dare I not take these people seriously and use their preferred term for their batshit insane ideology. So forgive me, everyone, for not calling them mecha tankies. I for one refuse. I refuse to use the term mecha tanky. That is, like, the dumbest fucking phrase I've ever heard in my whole life. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that, like, MAGA communism is stupid as well. But the fact that there are people out there who demand to be taken seriously, who refer to themselves as mecha tankies, to me that is just extremely sad. That is extremely sad. They want to say that I'm a LARPer, but they call themselves mecha tankies. That's just rough, dude. That is rough.
Dude, yeah, it must have taken like 5 years to make this video or something. Like, that's such, like, a out of touch thing. You know what I mean? It's so, like, behind with the times. But these are...
So, they started off calling themselves patriotic socialist, and then you sort of see this slow, like, descent into fascism. They start calling themselves, proletarian patriots, conservative Marxist-Leninist. Then they start calling themselves mecha tankies, and, nowadays they are calling themselves MAGA communists. It's all the same shit. Same shit, different day. Probably 2 months from now, they're gonna just start calling themselves National Socialists, because that is literally what they are.
Yeah, these are, like, this is the side of ML YouTube of people who have, and I don't mean this as an insult, because I am on YouTube, they do have autism. It's just like...
Alright, coming right out with the autism thing. Look, I don't have anything against people who have autism. Uh, but clearly Haas does. I mean, he uses that as an insult here, and I think that just shows the just rampant bigotry that is inundated within the whole infrared community. I mean, that's like their default response here. We are a little over a minute in to Haas's response, and he has, implied that I have autism here. And, just allow me to retort for a second. Haas, put your thinking cap on. Think about this for a minute. What if I did have autism? Does that really invalidate the points that I make in this video? Like, let's just assume, for sake of argument, that I actually did have autism. Let's assume that I had autism. Like, how does that invalidate anything that I say about you in this video? This is an empty ad. I don't want to play a nerd card, but this is an ad hominem, Haas. This is just an empty insult. Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't invalidate anything that I've said. So it's hilarious. He's like a playground bully, ladies and gentlemen, out of a fucking high school comedy. This guy is like the stereotypical bully. Oh, you're autistic. Ha ha, hee hee. Wow. Truly an intellectually riveting response from Haas. How will I ever recover from this?
And there is a connection between various non-standard neurological dispositions with kind of like just very old things, like a fixation on the old and familiar because it's like soothing or something to them, right? But anyway, let's just see what this is. This is my part, apparently.
I have no idea what he was trying to imply with that point. So because people have, I don't know, like nostalgia, that makes them autistic. Okay, that's a great argument, Haas. It makes you wonder if these people ever go outside, if they ever leave their desks, if they ever talk to another human being, person to person. Outside of all the posturing and bloviating, his ideas and understanding of Marxist theory is devoid of all understanding and is polluted with metaphysics and LaRoucheism and Dugan brain rot. This allows...
Is there anything he just said that's testable, or is he just retake his word for it?
Haas. Oh, okay, so is there anything that I said that's testable? I mean, you're going to see in a minute, ladies and gentlemen, that he proves my initial assessments of him just within mere moments of me unpausing this video, to come to conclusions such as organizing sucks and the US is already socialist. Clearly.
Is there any engagement with the argument, or is it just self-evidently wrong?
Okay, so is the argument that America is already a socialist country self-evidently wrong? I mean, think about this for longer than 2 seconds. I mean, obviously, there is something deeply wrong with that argument. If you truly believe that America, the United States of America, is already a socialist country, do I really need to form a in-depth response that's like multiple pages long? Do I really need to like chart out for you, Haas, why that is a profoundly stupid statement?
To be clear, because I know like they don't want to. The key thing is they never want to test it. Like, is that testable, or are you just gonna say I'm right? If you disagree with me, I'm gonna put a bullet in you and kill you. Because I feel like these things should be testable somehow. I try to test it through debates, and that's really what debates are about for me. It's like I'm just trying to test you. Like, can you actually support this rationally and logically in a consistent way? Can you follow through with this?
I mean, do I seriously need to like make a video and spell out why America is not a socialist country? This is just sad, dude. Like, and as far as the whole debate thing, like the only way ideas can be tested is through debate. Ask anybody who took debate in high school, they would tell you debating is not about the correct argument prevailing over the incorrect argument. Debating is not this like dialectic Aristotelian exchange where correct ideas are elevated and incorrect ideas are cast down into the trash bin. That's not what happens. Debating is often who can use the most sophistry tactics, who can use like the most clever wordplay, who can use the most scummy snake-like tactics to dunk on their opponent, to discredit them, and to bolster their own argument, who can be the loudest voice in the room. That is often what debate devolves into. That is why I refuse to participate in debate with people like Haas. People who we are just mere minutes in, he's already implied that I have autism. He's already implied that I have like mental illness. So, yeah, I mean, we are already off to a great start right here with this response. But, just keep that in mind as we go along.
This line of reasoning without revealing its obvious internal contradictions. Can you actually engage with the things I've said about this? No, you can't. But anyway, let's continue.
The thoughts of someone who doesn't have the slightest idea. He says I can't engage with the things that I've said, but I spend like the entire first half of the video, the first half that he just completely skipped over, highlighting in concrete detail the issues that I have with patriotic socialism. I talked about settler nationalism, reactionary populism. I talked about campism. I talked about the issues that I have with Lyndon LaRouche and Alexander Dugin and the Nazbol ideology. And so he just skips straight to the part where I talk about him because, of course, Hodge is an extremely egotistical person, much like Maupin. And so it's very easy just to skip over all of the actual substance of my arguments in my video and just hyperfixate on the part that pertains specifically to him, of what he's talking about. And yet, he manages to
Okay, can you demonstrate that in any way?
speak with such an inflated sense of authority that his equally idiotic followers gobble it. I actually don't need to demonstrate it, ladies and gentlemen, because he is about to demonstrate what I'm talking about in a better example than I could ever provide. So just pay close attention. It all up and regurgitate these ideas to any who try to hold Haas to any level of intellectual standard.
But who has tried to hold me to any intellectual standard? Can you name one person that's actually engaged with me on any level that can be called intellectual that you agree with?
I mean, I've tried to engage with you on a intellectual level. It clearly it doesn't work.
Just one person.
Now, why do I call these people infracels? It is because Haas himself, whether he wants to admit it or not, is an incel. Even in the extreme unlikelihood that he's had sex, Haas presents himself as an incel in his...
Okay, hold on. Didn't he just say it makes you wonder if these people ever go outside? Why are you showing footage of me going outside talking to... Hold on, before we get into that part, I'm pretty sure, unless I like my brain, I have a forgetful memory, like what did he just say?
Degree. It makes you wonder if these people ever go outside, if they ever leave their desks, if they ever talk to another human being, person to person.
Yeah, it really does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Sex. Haas presents himself as an incel.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder. Really makes you wonder if they've ever gone outside and talked to someone person to person.
Alright, so obviously, ladies and gentlemen, he's got me there. He completely owned me. It's not like I was being facetious in any way whatsoever. I mean, obviously, let's keep it real. Clearly, I understand that Haas has gone outside, wore his very, misfitting suit here on occasions. Okay, obviously I admit that Haas has gone outside at least one point in his life. He clearly doesn't understand that I was being facetious in my, statement that Haas has never gone outside and talked to another person. I mean, obviously, I don't think that's true. Obviously, clearly he has gone outside, spoken to other people. He's speaking to these MAGA people, here in these clips, having a truly riveting intellectual exchange with them, I'm sure. And so, clearly I was being facetious in my statement. That whole joke just completely went over his head. He is taking what I said extremely literally to a point where the whole purpose of the statement just completely went over his head.
It really makes you wonder, It's such a mystery. We need we need Scooby-Doo and friends to solve this one, guys. This is just a total mystery. What is this? Okay. Why would you show this? So you saw me go outside and talk to people person to person. You could have just not shown this and pretended you never saw this. Okay, let's see what they're saying though. Why are we called infracels? Let's see.
Cell. Even in the extreme unlikelihood that he's had sex, Haas presents himself as an...
Yeah, it's like so extremely unlikely. Like, you know.
It actually kind of is, Haas. I am surprised. I am very surprised to hear that you in fact are not a virgin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like so like it's so extremely unlikely.
Like what poor person allowed them to allowed you to touch them seriously? Oh my god.
compared to this guy, it's like this guy's a guarantee. That's the guy who, you know, like the Nintendo fandom Asperger's guy. That's totally
Oh man, said that I have Asperger's, okay, and he basically said that I'm an incel. He like flipped the script on me now. Oh no, whatever will I do?
in a different league of its own. All right.
Like, unlike you, Haas, I don't have to have my girlfriend on my stream and parade her around to like prove to the world that I'm in fact not a virgin. Like, it's so pathetic, dude. The the argument that I have against you, the statements that I made against you in this video are constantly being reinforced by your own behavior and you don't even realize it. That's how much of a basic bitch you are, Haas. Like, I have been able to make a bingo card where I predict how you respond, and you're doing it in the exact manner that I predicted.
But let's.
Incel in his mentality.
Okay, so I'm an incel because of my mentality. Despite that, I have a girlfriend that I live with. Okay. Well, let's hear. I'm open to hearing the argument for how a mentality can make you an incel.
He's extremely insecure in his masculinity, which...
Oh, okay. I'm insecure in my masculinity. Okay, so let's write that down.
Leads him to engage in extremely cringy machismo posturing and petty insults to present himself as a testosterone-filled Chad.
I don't think I need to present myself as a testosterone-filled Chad. As a matter of fact, I am willing to bet that if I scientifically measure my testosterone levels, they will be orders of magnitude larger than yours. I'm just confident.
So, you know, I mean, what do I even say to this, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, in my video, I said that Haas is a very insecure person. He's deeply insecure in his masculinity, and so his knee-jerk default reaction is to do this hyper machismo posturing, which not only is extremely cringy to witness, but it manifests as this sort of toxic masculinity that constantly seeks to break other people down to build himself up. And so, you know, he has said that his testosterone levels are orders of magnitude higher than mine. I count that as a beta statement here, so I'm going to check that off. Once again, that's a shitty check. Making fun of body, I mean, I'll just go ahead and put that one too. He's also like made fun of my avatar too. He, you know, said that it was like Nintendo Asperger's or something, so I'm gonna go ahead and check that too. I've been neglecting the check marks so far because I've just been so enthralled with the levels of stupidity, the magnitudes of stupidity that I've witnessed from Haas. And look, I'm not even gonna concern myself with what his chat is saying here, but if I was going by what was being said about me here in the chat, I would be checking like every fucking box on the bingo chart by now.
I think you probably have a much lower level of testosterone than me. I don't think people, when they hear me or look at me,
I'm gonna count that as a soy boy insult as well,
are thinking about what lengths it took me to pretend that I have high testosterone. I think they're just like, yeah, this guy has above average testosterone levels. But I could be.
Is that what people think when they see Haas? They're like, oh wow, this guy's a Giga Chad. I mean, maybe that's what they think. It's certainly not the impression that I get watching Haas and watching how he interacts with people. You know, I stand by what I said in my video. I think that he is a deeply insecure person because here's the thing. People who are secure in their masculinity don't feel the need to constantly assert how manly they are. They don't go around puffing out their chest, bragging about their testosterone levels, saying how, much sex with women that they have. That is something that deeply insecure people do. And, if I want to go off on a little bit of a tangent, he's like that guy who is in the closet, very insecure about the fact that he's still in the closet. And so he goes around and calls everybody gay and makes fun of gay people and bullies gay people while he himself is stuck in the very darkest depths of the closet and is very afraid to come out of that closet. And so they call everyone and everything gay. Haas is kind of the same way. He's this guy who is very insecure with his masculinity. And so his default knee-jerk response to any sort of criticism is to immediately say, oh, you're autistic, you're a beta, my testosterone levels are so much higher than yours, let me flex for the camera, let me have my girlfriend come into the room so I can parade her around and show her off to everyone to prove that I'm not a virgin, that I'm not an incel. And the whole point of my assessment of him in my initial video is that he may not be technically an incel in actuality, but in terms of his mentality, he has an incel's mentality. He has that level of insecurity, that need to constantly assert himself and puff out his chest and prove to the world that he is a big manly man, and everybody else, all of his detractors, are a bunch of soy boy beta cucks. That is an incel mentality right there. That is what I mean, Haas, when I say that you have an incel's mentality, and you are displaying that quality in perfect clarity right here in front of our very eyes. So thank you very much for proving my point.
Wrong. Maybe I have very low levels, but let's continue. I look so good in this.
Cringy machismo posturing. And I would disagree, Haas. I think that you need to get that suit tailored or something. It's very poorly fitting. Petty insults to present himself as a testosterone-filled Chad. This insecurity is plain for all to see and is not only painful to witness, but I mean, I don't want to be a goofball or anything, but I mean, look at the shoulders. Look at it needs to be tailored, dude. It needs to be tailored. Urges as a toxic masculinity which attacks and belittles women, LGBT people, people of different body types.
It's painful to listen. Okay. All right. And people of, what did he say, body types?
As a toxic masculinity which attacks and belittles women, LGBT people, people of different body types, and people of...
So you can't call people fat anymore, okay?
Alright, so the reason I said people of different body types is because it's more inclusive language. Because Haas not only goes after people who are fat, but he also goes after people who have neon colored hair, people who have piercings. This is the stereotype. This is the feminist, so cringy, these Tumblr feminists out there, they're so cringy and so ugly and gross. And it's look, I don't have any problem with people of different body types, but Haas clearly does. And like I said before, this speaks to his levels of insecurity. I don't go around judging people by their body types. I mean, clearly there are aspects of Haas's physical appearance that I could make fun of. I know I mocked his suit and how it's ill-fitted and all that stuff, but I don't immediately stoop to that low level of critique of people. I don't go after people's body types. I don't go after people's appearances because, like I said before, that is a kindergarten playground tier argument style. That is not what I'm about on this channel. I'm about going after the ideas, and the issues that I highlight with Haas is just that he does that very same thing. He goes after people based on their appearances, based on their perceived mental status, if they have a mental illness, if they have autism. And that's just bully shit. That's just standard bully shit. And, I don't want to play Sigmund Freud here, but if I had to psychoanalyze Haas, more so than I already have, I would say that probably in all likelihood, he is someone who has probably been bullied in his life before. And that's why when he goes on the internet and he streams like this. All of these debate bros are kind of like this. When they go on the internet and they stream, their default response is to tear other people down and become the bully. And maybe this is a way of getting revenge against the people that bullied Haas. But all of that is to say that on a certain level, I actually do feel sorry for these people. I really do. I feel sorry for people like Haas. I feel sorry for people like Yankee Tankie, because you have to know that on a certain level, at a certain time in their life, they probably did get bullied for various reasons. And I'm not validating that at all. I'm not saying that that was a good thing at all. Obviously, I'm against bully culture. I'm against this sort of, tearing down people for their appearances and for their mental illnesses and mental issues. I'm against that. And so you're not going to see me like compare my testosterone levels to somebody else and say that I'm so much more of a man than somebody like Haas or somebody like Moppin. You're not going to see me parade my romantic partner out on the internet to assert how much more manly I am than everybody else. It's very, very sad to see, and it speaks to a level of insecurity that I very clearly highlighted in my video. And it's just sad to see how that statement completely went over Haas's head, and he is just completely confirming everything that I said about him. And so, on a certain level, it is nice to know that my assessment of him is spot on, but it's also sad how accurate my assessment of him was. And it doesn't make me any less disappointed that people like Haas are actually out there on the internet and have a large following of people. And it just makes me wonder, like, what happened to these individuals to make them this way? What happened to the people who follow Haas to make them into these warped, sad, frustrated little people that they are?
Well, why not?
Different appearances, all of which serves to soothe his insecurities and the insecurities of his gaggle of idiots in the Infracel community.
Yeah, you're just insecure, You're just insecure. Like, that's really what it is. Like, I'm a fat, obese fuck with extremely low T levels. And you go to the gym every day and you take care of yourself and you're actually a real man just because you're insecure. Why don't you just, like, let your wife get fucked by other men like I do? Like, that's totally an example of security in my masculinity. Like, why don't you just wear a dress? That's the totally secure thing to do as a man.
You see what I mean? Thank you, Haas. Thank you for proving my point exactly. Like, this is exactly what I was talking about in my video. I describe how you act. I describe very accurately how you react to criticism, and you are displaying that perfectly. Like, I don't need to give a caricature or a false impersonation of your argument style, because you're displaying perfectly all of the qualities that I highlighted about you in my video. Like, this is great. Thank you so much, Haas, for proving me right. So many people have asked me to debate Haas or Moppin. The answer I give is why? What possible good?
Why? So you can actually so your claims can be tested. Why should anyone take what you're saying at face value? If you actually want to if you want to beat me and eliminate me from the internet, convince my audience that I'm wrong. You can do it. A sizable chunk, at least, if you can actually prove your claims.
Except, unfortunately, Haas, I can't do it because your audience has the attention span of a gnat, and they can't pay attention to something that can't be condensed into a Wojak soy meme or a Pepe the Frog emoji. And it is disappointing to see. In this 30-minute video that I made about why patriotic socialism is wrong, what they do is they skip over almost every part of the video where I highlight my issues with patriotic socialism. I talk about settler nationalism, reactionary populism, and I talk about like the issues that I have with debate bro culture and this terminally online viewpoint. And they skip over all of that. They hyperfixate on the fact that, yeah, I was being facetious when I said that Haas never goes outside. And so they're like, gotcha, Dankie. You said that Haas never goes outside. Well, here he is in your own video, a picture of him outside and talking to people. Like, obviously ignoring the fact that it's like I was being sarcastic. Clearly, I think that these people have gone outside at least one point in their life. It doesn't make it any less pathetic. And in fact, in the videos that I've seen where Haas does go outside, videos like this, he's talking to MAGA people, but I've also seen a video where he goes outside and he meets up with someone who he had beef with on the internet, and he immediately just starts talking about how the person that he's beefing with is fat and how he's a loser and how Haas could take him in a fight. It's very, very sad. It's like you go out in the real world and you act exactly how you act when you're on the internet, when you're on Twitch. And that just speaks to your permanently online mentality.
In a debate, like you need to make claims that are testable. The only way we can test them, if there's any substance behind them, is through a debate. Because so far,
I mean, we're testing my claims right now. My claims that you're deeply insecure, my claim that your knee-jerk reaction is to default into this hyper machismo posturing, this toxic masculinity. You're displaying that clearly right now. Like, the test is being conducted as we speak. And let me just tell you, my model is correct. My assessment of you, Haas, is so correct that it actually baffles me. I was expecting that maybe if I laid out these issues that Haas would like see my arguments and absorb them a little bit and maybe come out with some kind of retort that would counter what I'm saying, that would actually like not confirm my assessment that he's just a deeply insecure, bigoted asshole. But unfortunately, Haas cannot do that. That is not in his repertoire.
don't think there's been much substance. I think you've talked about how you take issue with certain aspects of my personality and where my dick has been. You have not addressed anything. You haven't said anything about me that's testable. You've just made claims. You haven't even offered any reasoning to justify those claims.
I mean, we're seeing my claims justified right here before our very eyes, ladies and gentlemen.
So the reason people ask you to debate is to prove it, because you sound like a little pussy right now. Like, why should I
I'm going to count that as a soy boy. I'm going to count that as a soy boy. I might also count that as a beta. I know I didn't put, that word on the bingo chart, but, I feel like that qualifies for both.
debate? To prove it.
He's not being very charitable with me, so I'm not going to be very charitable with him as to what constitutes what insult on the bingo card.
Prove what you're saying is true. Prove you can stand by the things that you're saying.
I don't have to prove anything, Haas. You are proving it. You are proving it right now. Thank you so much. Like, in my video, I called him a specimen, and that's true. Haas truly is a specimen, because he's like something that you just watch. He's an experiment that you watch unfold before your very eyes. I predicted how he would respond, and he is responding exactly how I predicted it. And look, I'm just going to say this. I am not some kind of a genius, okay? Obviously, Haas would agree with that, but I'm not some kind of a genius. I don't have, like, some in-depth ability to completely break a person down and psychoanalyze them. That just speaks to how basic these guys are. That just speaks to the fact that Haas and Moppin and Yankee Tankie, they're all just a bunch of basic ass bitches. Like, I am able to make a fucking bingo chart predicting how they'll respond, and they respond in the exact manner that I predicted.
Can you stand by the things that you're saying when confronted with an adversarial dialogue?
Alright, so let's just think about this for a minute. Let's imagine in some lapse of judgment I go on Haas's stream and try to debate him. What would that debate even look like? Within minutes of this response, he's already saying that I'm autistic. He's calling me a fucking beta cuck, saying that I have like low testosterone levels. He's posturing. He's making fun of my viewers' subscriber count. He's calling me like Nintendo Asperger's. Like, is this the level of intellectual exchange that I would be dealing with if I went on Haas's stupid ass stream? I mean, probably. Like, what does he have to bring to the table? He brings absolutely nothing to the table except for kindergarten playground insults. Like, and I'm supposed to take this guy I'm supposed to take this guy seriously? I'm supposed to think that he's gonna argue in good faith with anything that I have to say? I could type out a lengthy polemic that's like 30 fucking pages long detailing every issue that I have with Haas, and his only retort would be, oh, well, you're autistic, you're a beta, you have a Donkey Kong avatar, so you're stupid. Like, this is what I'm supposed to like contend with. This is what I'm supposed to like subject myself to. Why would I ever do that? What could it possibly hope to gain?
Can you sustain these claims when confronted with their opposite? Probably not. You'd probably fold immediately. So you need this safe space to do this.
Good could it serve to debate individuals like Haas or Maupin, people so fundamentally divorced from engaging in good faith or behaving in an objective or constructive manner that engaging with them at all is a pointless
Okay, again, this is just substanceless jibber jabber. What about what you just said is testable? Is there any way we could test whether that's true or not?
exercise that can only... The test is being conducted right now, and my assessment of you is being confirmed as we speak, Haas. Only serve to inflate their already massive egos and offer absolutely nothing to the movement. As I've
So because we'd win those debates. If you debated Caleb, you'd lose. If you debated me, you'd lose.
explained their idea...
And that's not because we have to be brilliant debaters. It's because you clearly misrepresented both of us. And a debate would be an opportunity for us to confront you with those misrepresentations in a way that you could not run away from. You can lie about us in this video all you want.
Where's the lie, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, I have not lied at all. Like, where is the lie here? I was spot on with my assessment of Moffin. I was spot on with my assessment of Haas, as he's clearly proving. So where's the lie here? And again, like, why do these people think that the only way that ideas can be tested is in a debate? Do you think that, I don't know, when Vladimir Lenin was denouncing Karl Kautsky and writing books against the Second International, do you think that he engaged with Kautsky in a direct debate? Do you think that that's the only way to challenge incorrect ideas? Do you not think, like, okay, so here's a funny scenario. Imagine if Lenin wrote Kautsky a letter and said, why don't you debate me, you autistic beta male cuck, with, you know, you're gross and fat and ugly and you have bald hair and you know, my testosterone levels are just so much higher than yours, Kautsky. Like, could you imagine that? Is this how a communist engages in criticism with other, you know, people? Is this how ideas are tested right now?
And you won't have to... You won't have your audience witness how you would squirm in the face of being confronted with these lies. That's why.
Ideas are antithetical to Marxism and completely void of any useful contributions to revolutionary science. Their understanding of Marxism is entirely lacking, and they only entertain Marxist rhetoric in an effort to mask their fascism as something proletarian and something revolutionary. And
is there an... Okay, hold on. Let's let him finish my segment.
when they're confronted about these errors in a constructive, principled way, they rapidly descend into baseless conspiracy theories, bigoted and juvenile attacks, and all manner of brain-dead idiocy to appeal to their equally brain-dead followers.
Can you list an example of that?
They prioritize and chase... You want me to list an example? I mean, how about the fact that you said that America was already a socialist country? I mean, it doesn't get more dumb than that, seriously. Like, the fact that you think I even need to qualify that statement with any further elaboration shows that you do not understand Marxism. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, my friend. Chasing clout and gaining fame in a petty bourgeois attempt to be the kings of their own little anthills while polluting the communist movement with their cancerous, parasitic, and fascistic slime that they call ideas. I could go outside and find a fresh dog turd and take a big old whiff and be more intellectually stimulated than engage with Maupin or Haas for even 1 second, and it would certainly...
So you're admitting you haven't even engaged with our ideas. Then how are you an authority to make all these claims about our lack of understanding of Marx?
I've engaged with your quote-unquote ideas much more than I probably should have, and let me tell you, I feel dumber for having engaged with your ideas. And that's not because you're right, it's because your ideas, if you can even call them ideas, are so profoundly stupid, so profoundly devoid of anything remotely resembling a Marxist analysis, that I feel like to even watch your videos for longer than 3 fucking seconds is something that immediately saps away my brain cells and makes me dumber as a result. Like, this is the only format. Videos like this are the only format I recommend anyone watch any of Haz's material with, because to actually go on his streams and listen to what he says, you are going to be dumber as a result of it. Be a better use of my time. Fascists and Nazbols shouldn't be debated. To debate them implies that their ideas are worth considering. And, you know, to that end, I have also had thorough interactions with Haz's fan base, the Infracel community, and let me tell you, there's not a whole lot of smart people there either. They are very, very unintelligent. They are very, very, like, they make Haz look like a genius by extension, so that's really saying something. I mean, Infracels are some of the dumbest people I have ever had the displeasure of interacting with. They're almost as stupid as Vosh fans. I mean, just let that sink in. They are almost as stupid as Vosh fans.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that how do you know who's a fascist or not? You don't. It just becomes a matter.
How do I know who's a fascist or not? Oh, I don't know. How about people who uphold Lyndon LaRouche, a guy who, you know, collaborated with the Ku Klux Klan? How about guys that, you know, uphold Alexander Dugin, literally a neo-Nazi? Guys who, you know, say that Marxism-Leninism is conservative and let's call ourselves a MAGA communist and let's go out there and work with Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. You know, gee, I wonder what basis I have to call these people fascist.
Matter of who can convince the most amount of people based purely on emotion who the fascist is. And eventually,
it's not based purely on emotion. I mean, I give a pretty thorough analysis in my video. I talk about, you know, the things I've already mentioned: settler nationalism, reactionary populism, LaRoucheism, Duginism, the whole Nazbol ideology, the whole, you know, let's pretend like we're communists where we're actually fascist. We have communist aesthetics. We are communist in form, but fascist in function. You know, that is the entire critique I have. But of course, if you only hyperfixate on the small section of my video where I talk about you, Haz, you're gonna miss all of that critique. And you've done that. It's the same thing that Moppin did. He skipped over the entire part of my video where I highlight specifically my issues with patriotic socialism because they're so self-absorbed and self-centered that they only focus on themselves. And they miss the entire overarching critique that I nest their critique within.
actually, even you can get accused of being a fascist. As long as there's a big enough mob to support that accusation, you're opening up a justification of violence against yourself. That's what happens when you make claims that aren't testable in ways that people outside of your echo chamber could at least agree with. Creating standards that people who disagree ideologically can come to the table and agree with. Like, what is a fascist? How are we fascists? Can we think about that critically, or is it just self-evident?
Well, maybe if you watched, you know, the entire first half of my video, you would have a better understanding of why I say that patriotic socialists are fascists in disguise. But, you know, you won't do that. You say that I don't contend with your ideas. You say that I don't take your ideas in good faith and that I take you out of context or whatever. You're doing that exact same thing to me. Except, unlike your assessment of me, I actually do take your, you know, quote-unquote ideas in their context, in their proper context. And let me tell you this, there's not much there except for, you know, problematic fascistic bullshit that I have debunked, just like I debunk in my video. The only reason to address them at all is to point out their myriad of errors and their vacuous nature of their existence. Hinkleberries and right opportunism. Finally.
Okay. I waited because this video is called Why Patriotic Socialism is Wrong. I didn't find a single reason for why it's wrong from this. I found he said that I don't go outside, and then he showed a video of me outside.
Obviously, I was being entirely literal, ladies and gentlemen, when I said that Haz never goes outside. I truly meant that I believe in my heart of hearts that Haz has never left his house before. I was totally making that argument. I wasn't being facetious in any way whatsoever.
And then he said it's really unlikely he's had sex. And even though I have a girlfriend that lives with me. And then he said...
No, I said even in the extreme unlikelihood that you've had sex. You are an incel in your mentality. And you very accurately displayed that mentality here in this response.
Um, he said, I'm insecure. That's what he said. He said I was insecure about my masculinity. And then he said I insult people. And then he claims I don't know anything about Marxism.
I claim that you insult people because you do. Like, within a minute of this video, you're already calling me autistic and Nintendo Asperger's, and you're making fun of my body even though you have no fucking idea what I look like. You're saying that I have low testosterone levels. Oh wow, where could I ever get the assessment that you insult people? Where could I ever get that assessment from, Haas?
And that I'm wrong. Okay, but you're supposed to provide reasons for why patriotic socialism, quote unquote, is wrong, and you didn't. You just made a bunch of claims about my personality and me that.
Again, I provide my reasons in the whole first fucking half of the video. That's why I made it the first half, because I assumed that people would at least watch my video, at least watch it in order before they got to their specific part. That's why I added the timestamps. I even put timestamps in my video so you could go and click on it and see my comments. But, once again, my assessment of the patriotic socialist, especially the infracels, are correct. They have the attention span of a gnat. They have no fucking attention span whatsoever. If you can't condense your argument down into a Wojak soy meme, they will not be able to understand it.
Themselves were not substantiated, but even taken by themselves, do not actually demonstrate or argue for why patriotic socialism is wrong. So I think this is just not very impressive. I'm disliking it. On the merits, I gave it a chance and I was going to be fair. But on the merits of what the title of this video and what it actually has done, at least just in my segment, there is no argument for why it's wrong. It's just a bunch of bizarre personal attacks.
Well, because that was the part of the video, Haas, where I was specifically talking about the issues I find with you. The overall argument for why patriotic socialism was wrong was explained in the first half of the video. The first half of the video, I lay out why ideologically speaking patriotic socialism is wrong. The second half of the video, I talk about specific figureheads within the patriotic socialist movement, and unfortunately, Haas, you are one of them. And so I talk about the personal insights that I have, my personal assessments of you and your behavior and your misunderstanding of Marxist theory, your complete lack of understanding of Marxism. That is what I discuss in your segment, Haas. And you have displayed that perfectly.
Which kind of sound like projection. I kind of think recently it was one of my younger siblings' birthdays. And me, my girlfriend, and my younger sibling.
It's very funny that he accuses me of projection, whereas that's all he does. That's all he does is project. That's the whole hyper-machismo posturing thing. That is all projection on his part.
Went to the movie theaters to watch Super Mario.
Who bullied you, Haas? Like, seriously, did you get bullied in high school? I am pretty sure that you did. And I am not saying that that's a good thing. I am sorry, Haas, that you got bullied in high school. I'm sorry that you feel the need to go out on the internet and flex your muscles and pretend like you are just some testosterone-filled Chad. I'm sorry that your default response is to accuse your detractors of being autistic or being ugly or being a different body type or whatever. I am sorry that you feel the need to do that, but it really does speak to your level of insecurity here. I think that you are a deeply, deeply insecure person.
Because I wanted to watch it. It kind of looked like a fun movie. And it was pretty good. But I kind of feel like this is the type of person that I would look to my right, left, and right, and I'd probably see them there. And it just doesn't really strike me as a person who's particularly socially adept. Kind of think this is a Nintendo Asperger's kid.
A Nintendo Asperger's kid. You know what? I'm going to count that as making fun of my avatar. If I had a tally on my bingo chart for autistic or Asperger's, I would have checked that box like about 10 times by now. I feel like it really speaks to the sort of ableism, the sort of like reactionary bigotry that is inherent within the Infracel community. And once again, I point out, Even if I am autistic, Haas, how does that invalidate anything that I have said? This is just a playground bully response. I have come at you with the equivalent of a scathing polemic against you, and your only response is, oh, you have Asperger's, you have autism. And unlike you, Haas, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with people who have autism, anything that have Asperger's. I think that we should all be respectful towards one another, regardless of the, differently abled lifestyles that we have. I think that we should all be tolerant of each other and more respectful of each other, and not just default to these, baseless accusations. And unlike you, Haas, I don't think having autism or Asperger's is anything to make fun of. And I think the fact that you go out of your way to make fun of people who have autism and Asperger's is pretty loathsome. And I think that that's something that you should be condemned to do. And, just for the record, I don't have autism or Asperger's. You may disagree, but what I do have, Haas, is compassion for the differently abled. And you clearly don't. And I think that that speaks to you as a person.
Nothing wrong with that, but I just kind of find the nature of the attacks against me to be like a little too personal and a little too specific, which makes them kind of sound like projection. Maybe they're on a love quest and they're just trying to get pussy, or they're trying to find a girlfriend or something, and that's why they're posturing in this way. Good luck, they're probably trying to...
I'm going to count that as a soy boy insult. I'm also going to count that as a cuck beta insult as well. You're saying that I'm on a love quest and I'm out there trying to get pee. I don't have to worry about that, Haas, but unlike you, I'm not going to brag about that on the internet. Because I don't feel the need to. I don't feel the need to, like, assert my masculinity for everybody out there. Like, I don't care. Like, here's the thing. It's the same thing with the autism thing. Like, even if I was a virgin, a kissless virgin on a love quest, would that really invalidate anything that I said about you, Haas? Clearly not. So, I mean, once again, this is just playground bully insults. This is not an intellectual exchange. This is not a intellectual dismantling of my argument in any way whatsoever.
Fine.
It's really fucking sad. It's really fucking sad that people look up to this guy and think that he's some kind of an intellectual giant. Because he clearly is not. I mean, do you think, once again, I'll use the example of Lenin. Do you think that Lenin, when he, denounced Karl Kautsky, his go-to response was, oh, Kautsky's an autistic beta. He's a soy boy. Clearly not. So, I mean, it's funny how it's like he can't attack my arguments at all using any level of intellectual standard. He just immediately defaults to these petty insults and this posturing, like I so accurately pointed out in my video.
One of these women, including the valid women on Twitter.
Valid women. I mean, this is just transphobic bullshit now. I mean, you're just a fucking bigot, Haas. What do you want me to say? Like, you are a fucking bigot. Like, this is disgusting, dude. You are a disgusting human being, Haas. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter how many women you sleep with, Haas. You are still an incel in your mentality. It doesn't matter how much sex you actually have. It doesn't change the fact that you are still deeply insecure about your own masculinity. You clearly display that here. It's very sad to see. It's very sad that people out there like Haas actually exist. And it just shows that, like, the incel mentality, this is a problem. This is a huge problem within Western society that I think communists would be remiss if they did not denounce and attempt to understand.
They're probably just trying to kind of impress them, I guess, and more power to you. I hope.
Alright, just for the record, I'm not out there to try to impress women. I've looked at my analytics for my viewers. They're mostly guys anyway. I'm not out there to impress women. You honestly think that women are impressed by, like, my Essentials of Maoism series? Like, even if they were, that's not my goal. Like, I don't care. I'm not out there to impress women. I have a partner. I'm not gonna, like, talk about that or brag about that or use that as, like, a trophy for myself that I can, parade in front of everyone. it's just stating a fact, but it's hilarious that he thinks that like I'm out there making these videos trying to get girls when it's like that's not what I'm about. That's not what I care about. Like I honestly do not care if girls like my video or not. That is not what I'm doing, but it's clearly what you're trying to do, Haas, and I think it's pretty sad. It's pretty pathetic. I'm out here trying to talk about the ideas. I'm out here making videos about why patriotic socialism is wrong, and you may be on a love quest, Haas, but my love quest is complete, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
If that makes you happy. But it doesn't make you someone who's raised any points whatsoever. Like nothing you said was not only was nothing you said testable, you didn't even make any arguments or points. You just made this bizarre video venting your personal resentments. Like it's not my fault you have low testosterone. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm gonna mark that as a soy boy.
It's not my fault you're probably obese.
Oh, I'm gonna mark that as a making fun of body. We are getting a few check marks here at the very tail end.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm sorry. What do you want from me? All right, guys. We're wrapping it up for tonight. It's already late.
My God. All right. So that was the intellectual giant that is Haas of the infrared community. Let's get a final score here. He called me a cuck and a beta 3 times. Called me a soy boy 4 times. He may not have technically used the terms cuck and beta and soy boy, but he implied that I had low testosterone. He implied that, I wasn't as manly as he was. And so I feel like that fairly counts for both of those categories. He did make fun of my views and subscriber count. At one point said I was a very tiny YouTube channel. He made fun of my body, calling me, obese or whatever. And, to that I say, so what if I am? I could be skinny. I could be fat. I could be like super duper roided up and ripped. It does not change the validity of my argument at all. And so, this actually surprised me. I thought he was going to do a lot more of the whole like making fun of my body thing. He said that he made fun of my avatar, calling me like saying that I had like Nintendo Asperger's or something like that. Once again, doesn't matter what my avatar is. This is the internet. It doesn't invalidate any of my arguments at all. So, I mean, overall, the score chart, and keep in mind, this was not a score chart just for Haas. This was a score chart for Moppin and Jackson Hinkle and Yankee Tankie as well. So the fact that I was able to like predict the accurate levels of his response is pretty surprising to me. I mean, it's honestly, surprising may not be the word for it. It's confirming, it's validating that my assessment of him was not only accurate, but it also validates that my assessment that he's a basic bitch and very predictable was also an accurate assessment as well. So that's Haas. We will move right along, get another bingo chart going. We'll clear the chart, and then we will look at what Yankee Tankie had to say about me. I'm sure it is going to be just as intellectually riveting as Haas's scathing analysis. So I'll get that up and going right now. Alright, so I have scrubbed the bingo card, and we are going to see what Yankee Doodle dipshit has to say. And these are very short videos, by the way, so I'm not really expecting to fill out a lot of sections on the bingo card, but we will just see what he has to bring to the table here, and we'll try our best, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just get right into it.
Hey guys, the Yankee Tank here. I just wanted to take a break from the landscape I'm doing some mulch work here. I wanted to take a break and tell everyone that you need to go out and vote, but not for any particular politician, no. For the future of communism.
Oh man.
And what I mean
Here,
by...
let's rewind it just for a little bit. What is that little like thing? Is that like a little bit of Pop-Tart that I see on your lip there, Yankee Doodle boy? I mean, I'm not hating. I mean, you do you, dog, but Yeah, I think that's some Pop Tart or a loogie or something like that.
Communism. And what I mean by that,
Let's rewind it a little bit. I don't want to take him out of context, ladies and gentlemen.
everyone, that you need to go out and vote, but not for any particular politician, no. For the future of communism. And what I mean by that, Ewoks Unhinged, or I believe he's calling himself Dialectics Unhinged, just did a poll recently that is about who is the future of communism? Either the pathetic loser called Tankie.
I'm gonna count that as a soy boy, pathetic loser. I mean, it's almost synonymous, so I'm gonna count that.
Or your glorious, masterful debate champion, defeater of Dylan Burns and Vosh, the Yankee Tankie. So make sure you go out and vote today in the most important poll of our lifetime. Who is the future of communism?
Alright, so you heard it here first, folks. Actually, you heard it on his video first, but the Red Phoenix Army needs to rise up, rise from the ashes, and go to B-Level's poll and own Donkey Kong with internet points. That'll show him. Oh my god. I think I'm going to count that as ratio. I'm going to count that as like a ratio argument. You know, oh, everybody go vote in this poll that B-Level set up and own him. Give me more internet points and that will prove who's right and who's wrong. That is how arguments are won, ladies and gentlemen. That is how the truth prevails. It's internet points that decides that. Look, I think that it is very interesting to watch the career of Yankee Tankie. This is someone who, of course, started out as the second in command of the John Brown Volunteers. I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't give the proper respect to the commander, the second in command of the John Brown Volunteers. But now he has been upgraded. He is now the general of the Red Phoenix Army. So, you know, this guy, clearly serious, clearly not a LARPer in any way whatsoever. He went from being second command of the John Brown Volunteers, now he is the general of the Red Phoenix Army. So I feel like everyone needs to give him a salute, proper respect, props to you, General Yankee Tankie, commander of the Red Phoenix Army. Jesus Christ. Alright. So we will move right along and watch his second video now. I'm sure it will be equally entertaining. Hope he gets that Pop-Tart crumb off his lips. And, you know, I'll get that booted up right now. Alright, so I got the second video booted up. It's going to be great. Let's just give it a watch. I did not scrub the bingo card because his first video was so short. I'm really taking these as like one solid chunk, okay? Just like the solid chunk that appeared on his lips in the first video, whatever that was. If it was snot, if it was a little bit of Pop-Tart, you know, whatever. I'm not hating. You know, we all have stuff like that happens to us. It doesn't mean it's not funny, though.
So I paused from my work that I was doing to check out Donkey Kong's stream, and he was criticizing Caleb Maupin. And from the same video that he criticized me and Haas and everyone else.
Did I criticize you, Yankee Tankie, or did I just like play a clip from one of your videos and that clip was so unbelievably cringy that you probably got embarrassed and you misinterpreted that as a criticism of you? I wasn't criticizing you necessarily, Yankee Doodle Boy. I was just in awe at what I was witnessing, and I felt like my viewers needed to be needed to bear witness to the glorious and magnificent Yankee Tankie. That's all I was trying to do in my video. So if you got embarrassed by that, you know, that's kind of on you. That's kind of your fault. You did it to yourself.
I tried to say, hey, why won't you debate me? Instead, the coward kicked me out of the fucking chat.
You're goddamn right I did.
So I came in there with some ults, and he kicked the ults out of the chat. Donkey Kong is a coward.
Alright, I'm going to count that as like a debate challenge, but not only am I going to count that as one debate challenge, I'm going to just count that as like, I'm just going to keep doing it. And I'll explain why. All right, that's a lot of check marks. Some of them are really shitty looking, but who cares? It, so I'll explain for those of you who missed it. In my video, in the premiere of my reaction to Caleb Maupin's Meltdown, Yankee Tankie appeared in my comments section and just started spamming, "Debate Yankee Tankie, debate Yankee Tankie, debate me, debate me, debate me, debate me, Tankie, you coward." And, and so I told him, I was like, dude, if you keep spamming like this, I'm gonna have to put you in timeout. Like the naughty little boy you are. And what did he do? He kept spamming. So I had to kick him out. And then he started logging into all these sock accounts that he had. And it got to a point, ladies and gentlemen, where I just felt sorry for him. It was just kind of sad because it's like he started making sock accounts like Danky Kang is a coward, Danky Kang is a bitch. It's just like, dude, you know, Yankee Doodle Boy, if you put half as much effort into your videos that you put into like shit posting and spamming and challenging people to debates, you would be Martin Scorsese right now. Your videos would be like the best quality videos that YouTube has ever seen. It was sad, ladies and gentlemen. It was just sad. I'm supposed to debate this guy. I'm supposed to take this guy seriously. Like, who in the wide world of fuck could ever take this dude remotely seriously? The second command of the John Brown Volunteers, the general of the Red Phoenix Army. Like, am I honestly supposed to take this guy seriously? I'm baffled. I am baffled, ladies and gentlemen. Bless his heart.
He refuses to debate me. He refuses to actually allow his ideology to be criticized. And
feel free, like, criticize my ideology all you want. Make a video essay series of your own explaining why Danky Kang's an idiot. Like, I fucking challenge you, Yankee Tankie. Make a video series of your own explaining in intellectual detail why my series on essentials of Maoism is stupid, why my assessment of the patriotic socialist movement is wrong. Go ahead, Yankee Doodle dipshit. Make your videos, prove me wrong. I am not going to debate you. Why would I ever stoop so low as to debate you? And, you know, for the record, like, I'll just admit it. I'm scared of you, dude. I am so terrified. I am, you know, let this be clipped. Let everybody clip this. I am so scared of you, Yankee Tankie. I'm terrified. I stay up in bed at night shivering and shaking because I'm just so scared that you're going to break into my bedroom and challenge me to a debate. I'm quaking in my boots. I'm shaking in my boots. I'm so scared of Yankee Tankie. I'm so scared that he'll just completely demolish me. I'm cowardly running away from his 1,000 different challenges to debate me. You know, I am so scared of him, boys and girls. I have never encountered a gentleman with the intellectual magnitude of Yankee Tankie before. He's got me scared, he's got me shaking, he's got me on the run. Maybe I should just go into hiding, delete my YouTube channel to avoid debating him. Oh my god.
you know, this is what it gets down to, what third positionist Maoists really are.
Did he just call me a fucking third positionist? Dude, like, MAGA communists are so much closer to third positionists than I am. Like, do you even understand what you're talking about? Like, this is why I'm not going to debate you, Yankee Doodle Boy, because you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You say that Maoism is third positionism. Like, seriously, MAGA communism, patriotic socialism, mecha-tankyism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you guys are a lot closer to third positionism than I am.
They're fucking cowards. Same problem I had with Jason Unruh, okay? They refuse to debate me, the Yankee Tankie, because I know the truth. I know that their ideology is bullshit, and there are...
Oh no, whatever will I do? The Red Phoenix Army is coming for me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so scared. They're gonna leave some emojis in my comments section. They're gonna downvote my video. Oh no, whatever will I do? I don't know how I will ever recover from getting ratioed from Yankee Tankie, General of the Red Phoenix Army.
Afraid that I will call them out.
Yep, I am so scared. I am startled, ladies and gentlemen. I am scared. That is why I refuse to debate Yankee Tankie. It's not because he's a joke. It's not because he's like a living embodiment of a shitpost. It's because I'm scared. So, I mean, he's called me, soy boy, called me coward, whatever. He wanted to ratio me in B-level stupid fucking poll. Like, once again, like, go ahead, own me with internet points. I don't give a shit. Doesn't invalidate my arguments at all. And then the debate challenge, I honestly ran out of space. I might as well add more checks to it, because I'm gonna run out of space, because he spammed debate Yankee Tankie, debate Yankee Tankie. He spammed that like so much from so many accounts. I can't even fucking tell you how many times he challenged me to a debate. And guess what, Yankee Tankie, this is really gonna rustle your jimmies. I refuse. Call me a coward, go ahead. Call me a beta, call me soy boy. I don't give a shit. If I'm a coward for not debating you, then I guess I'm a coward by your assessment, Yankee Tankie. I'm not losing a wink of sleep over it. I'm not, staying up at night just totally scared, totally afraid that you calling me a coward is just really going to get under my skin. It's really going to like force me to debate you. Sorry. No means no. No means no. Learn what consent means, Yankee Tankie. Alright, so last and definitely the least, we have B-level Star Wars. He goes by the name Dialectics, Unhinged. And, let me just say this. This is a guy who, he acts like he's your buddy to your face, and then he will turn around and shit all over you when he talks about you to other people, when he comments about you to other people. And I've seen this happen, and I'm not even going to do him the courtesy of addressing his comments here. But he made this video, he says that I'm coping or whatever. This is something that the Infracels love to do. They love to say, oh, cope and seethe, cope and seethe. Like, honestly, I think that seeing the response from Moppin, seeing the response from Haas, seeing the response from Yankee Doodle Dipshit, and then seeing B-Level's response, like, I don't want to pull a Haas card, but I'm pretty sure that's coping. I'm pretty sure they're seething. So go ahead, Infracels, go ahead, Patsocs, continue to cope and seethe. Doesn't change the fact that I completely blew your dipshit ideology completely out of the water. But, let's just go ahead and play this video here. That's besides the point. Like, I don't care. If 99.9% of the world said that the sky is green and you can look outside and see that the sky is blue, does that make 99.9% of the world right and you wrong? Like, this is an argument from majority and it doesn't work. This is a fallacy. I don't want to pull a nerd card, but it's a fucking logical fallacy. Again, this is another argument from majority, but like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if 99% of the communist movement thinks that Maoism is dumb. That doesn't invalidate the ideas of Maoism. That doesn't invalidate the arguments of Maoism. Alright, so B-Level, like, do you understand the point that I was trying to make in that very short clip? I was trying to make a point that the argument from majority doesn't work. It is a logical fallacy. I'm going to pull a nerd card here and explain to you the error of that particular logical fallacy. Let's say a dog walks by and you have a group of 100 people and 99% of those people say, hey, look at that cat over there. And you say, you guys, that's not a cat, that's a dog. Does that make those 99 people correct and you incorrect when it's clearly a dog walking in the road? Obviously not. I mean, so that is the only point that I was trying to highlight in that assessment. And by the way, I don't think that 99.9% of the communist movement disagrees with Maoism. I think that there are a lot of people out there who understand and recognize Marxism, Leninism, Maoism as a third and highest stage of communism. And so even if I was charitable and granted that 99.9% of the communist community disagrees with Maoism, that does not invalidate the argument of Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. And just another thing, B-Level likes to call me a Wowist. A white Maoist is what that means. Doesn't matter if I'm white, doesn't matter if I'm black, doesn't matter what race I am. Maoism is correct, and I will uphold and defend that. And I explain why I believe Maoism is correct in my Essentials of Maoism series. So B-Level, I highly recommend you go and you watch my Essentials of Maoism series, and then you come at me with a better argument than this, because simply selectively quoting what I say in one of my streams describing the argument of majority does not invalidate my stance that Maoism is the third and highest stage of Marxism. So, you're trying to dunk on me, but honestly, just like Yankee Tankie, just like Haas, just like Moppin, all you're doing is proving my point. All you're doing is validating my statements. So that about does it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the absolutely abysmal, piss-poor attempt to respond to my videos. It was a shameful display. Let the record show the patriotic socialists bring absolutely nothing to the table. They are all jokes. They are jokers. And, people have asked me why I even dedicate the time to address these individuals on my YouTube channel. And I agree. In an ideal situation, these people would not be worth my time to address in any way whatsoever. But unfortunately for you, unfortunately for me, unfortunately for the communist movement, their ideas are out there. They're being spread. And so I need to do my due diligence and counter these ideas to the best of my ability. And I would like to think that in this video, in my response to Moppin's Meltdown, and in my original video about why patriotic socialism is wrong, I have done my own humble contribution to debunking and exposing patriotic socialism for the sham, crypto-fascist bullshit assemblage that it is. And so, hopefully that'll be the end of that. Yankee Doodle Boy, if you decide to make a series talking about why I'm dumb or why Maoism is dumb, I'm sure it will be intellectually riveting. I'm sure it will be captivating. I'm sure that it will definitely not be filled with a bunch of dipshit nonsense. And so I am looking forward to that. B-Level, feel free to shit on me in secret if you want. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit what you have to say about me. I don't care what you say. You're a snake in the grass, B-Level. And by all means, keep coping, keep seething, as you Infracels so often put it. And I will catch you on the next one.